understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
I started up a security firm.
I'd really like to meet Batman.
Finally, a superhero team I can actually get behind.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, August 10th, 2019. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sara Netzley, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we have, okay, help me out, a season premiere followed by episode 2, a penultimate episode, and just an episode. Did I do that right?
Yeah.
Have we had an incredibly complicated run of premiere, finale, penultimate? I feel like I have to do that gif of somebody doing math every time we do this.
Yeah. So yeah, we have 4 new episodes, including 1 premiere and 1 penultimate. So
I had to count on my fingers. That's all I know.
Yes. And just to those wondering, there is a DC movie out in theaters this week called The Kitchen. And we will try to get a DC movie report out for that. Maybe this weekend, maybe next weekend. But we are doing our best working with schedules.
He's being nice. It's me. He's talking about my schedule.
Well, but yeah. So yeah. There's The Kitchen is based on a Vertigo book. It's not a superhero story at all. And yeah, I got Melissa McCarthy, Tiffany Haddish, and Elizabeth Moss. What's not to like about those 3 people?
It's true. One of them's a Scientologist, but it's true. That's,
Wow. Okay. All right.
And that's how we get boycotted.
Yeah. Really reaching out to everybody there. All right. Sarah, you had fun this week? You had fun. We're getting like 3/4 of the shows done on Sunday.
Yeah, it makes for interesting spacing of watching this week. Although I will say we're getting caught up on Jessica Jones's final season finally, so I was able to do my my podcast things and then pivot to Marvel. I'm enjoying it. I realize I'm 8 months behind the general pop culture. Whatever.
That's okay. I'm probably gonna start The Boys like right after I finish this episode.
Wait, you haven't watched The Boys?
No, I haven't. What?
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
That's enjoy that. That's no. I figured you had. I'm glad I didn't blurt out any because they made some changes from the comics. So.
Oh, okay. I know. Our friend Bob Sweeney, brother of Bill, our executive producer Bill, was very high on The Boys. He was very angry that Bill and I had not seen it yet.
Well, I saw that when I was actually physically there. Like he had watched it and we had only seen an episode or something like that. And he and my husband had a coded conversation about that thing that's supposed to happen. Is it going to happen? So it was, yeah.
All right. And also for those of you, if you haven't had enough of me talking about Preacher, you can head over to Preacher vs. Preacher, one of our sister podcasts, where I talked about the first 2 episodes of season 4 of Preacher with Bill Sweeney. And we broke it down from a book perspective, which is interesting because I haven't read all of the books yet. So yeah, and it's gonna be interesting. I have some different things to say here, but but definitely if you're really into Preacher and you're really a fan of the books, go check out that podcast. And Sarah, I'm sure you are going to be showing up on that show sooner or later as well.
It seems inevitable, yes. Like the rains in the Masada Desert, or like Cassidy wearing a strange T-shirt. It seems inevitable.
All right. Anything to really chit chat about? Anything to really kind of like schmooze about, or do you want to just?
No, I feel like this week I've kept my head down and tried to get a lot of work done before school starts again. So I feel like I'm all work, no play, Sarah. So yeah, let's talk about TV.
All right, straight to business then. So we'll start with the recaps. First up is Pennyworth, Season 1, Episode 2, The Landlord's Daughter. Alfred tried to boost his business profile by assisting a local barkeep whose daughter was being harassed by the nephew of a powerful crime lord. Esme's play opened, and she and Alfred seemed unsure of their future together. While Lord Hardwood was strung up and tortured, Bet Sykes seduced George the prison guard. Last-minute reveal, after faking her execution, Bet Sykes drove away in the hangman's truck with her sister Peggy.
What's all this then, Ed? Cool. So, I remain incredibly entertained by. I think Bet is my favorite accent. I really love it.
Oh, hi, Pet. Hi, Pet. I love how she calls everybody Pet. That's that's scary. That's creepy.
It's scary.
And God damn it, George was stupid. Poor George, you stupid George.
He gets what he gets. Sorry. That was
Yeah. It's funny. I like all of these episodes. I'm watching a second time with my mother, and When she pulls out the used condoms, it was a little awkward. Not gonna lie.
She did say the word spunk about 50 times. It was awful.
Yes.
So, did you like? First of all, I petition that we rename this show "Smokin' Ravens" because that's all it is. It's accents and smoking ravens. Did that feel like a tiny little wink at like Gotham by Gaslight in the beginning? Did you get a?
Yeah. I got that feel. I don't know if it was directly that, because no. I mean, because also Gotham by Gaslight is setting up 100 other movies about and stories about Victorian England. But I see what you mean there.
Yeah, it just did the top hats and the swirling smoke and the mists and things like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, let's see what else. I actually, this was some of the more upsetting TV that I've seen in a long time. The televised execution stuff that is some cool alt history that was upsetting. The jovial TV announcer, that poor guard. Oh my God. That was the disemboweling feels like unnecessary and super over the top in a way that, again, was really upsetting alt history. Well done, Pennyworth. Like that stayed with me.
Yeah, and I did do a bit of research, and it seems like public hangings were still a thing in London until 1964.
Okay, first of all, who's going to show up looking at your search history with questions? I think it is the breathless play-by-play of it all that was really upsetting. It felt more to me like V for Vendetta, weirdly. Like it gave me that vibe. in a good. I love V for Vendetta, the movie, I should say. So I don't know. It cool, interesting detail, horrible, upsetting, awesome world building. The end.
Yes, and it's happening on all sides. The Prime Minister has Lord Harwood literally hanging by his wrists, and pretty much says he's gonna have to let him go.
Yeah.
Because they don't have enough on him. They were just torturing him for information. So the fact, he's right. He will be back. That he's just gonna walk out of there is a crying shame. But there were other things that happened in this episode, and to me the more fun storyline was Alfred, trying to help out, Sandra and Sid at the local pub. What did you think of that storyline?
I thought it was cool that we were kind of pivoting to a case of the week. That this shows how this program could take. It's not just going to be Batman, right? It's not just going to be setting that up. It's going to be Alfred doing work for people. And so I thought that was really kind of cool to see what that structure would look like, with something else. I will say the kid they cast to play the Ripper relative looked confusingly like the kid they cast to play Alfred. I'm calling them kids because I guess I'm old now.
Oh.
But I mean, I genuinely had to squint and be like, is that which one? They both have, they don't have, the one didn't have the sharp widow peak, but it was enough that it was confusing.
Well,
all British men look alike to me. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Oh. Well, I thought there was a difference. He had a little bit of like an underbite, I guess you would say, or maybe an overbite. But he also had a weird.
I shouldn't have to look at his teeth alignment.
He also had a weird hairline, and to me, he's the person in the show who I've seen so far that looks most like a comic book character. He he looks like someone you would have seen drawn in a comic book about this. With just that toothy grin and that smile and those eyes, and yeah, he was scary. And I thought the way that they dispatched him, I also you see how smart Alfred is, and the way he coordinates with Baza and Dave Boy. That breakdown. Also, best moment of this episode is when they have Jason Ripper tied up and blindfolded, and they say they're pulling out their tools. The Dave Boy just grabs a pot and a spoon and just starts clanking them.
So we saw two different kinds. We actually saw a lot of torture this week, but I hate a torturer who smiles. It's a lot, and we had that in Pennyworth this week, but I appreciated that version of torturers.
Yeah, and also kind of the way Alfred used this opportunity where it's I'm not just gonna beat up this snotty rich kid when I can use this as a springboard to get his dangerous mobster uncle on my side. And I thought that was interesting, and even Dave Boy is wary of that alliance at the end. Did we just make a deal with the devil?
Mm-hmm. And I kind of like that it feels like maybe we could be shaping up for a sort of battle for Alfred's soul. I don't care. I don't want to serve anybody. I just want to make money and watch my girlfriend in a play.
Yes.
That'll be interesting to see how that, he gets pulled by different forces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how about that Esme? She's got acting chops.
Yes. I feel like every time we saw her deliver that scene, she gave a slightly different spin on it in a way that indicated that she's she's one to watch, basically.
Yes. And she had a great line for getting rid of those that Lothario, that one producer who was trying to seduce her. When he asked about her boyfriend, he ties people up in the middle of the night and kills them.
But
yeah, and it's episode 2, and Alfred's already popped the question. Do you think he's moving too fast?
I do. I feel like they just met. It's too much. Didn't they break up for a good chunk of episode 1? I don't know, Alfred. You gotta take it slow.
Mm. Yes. Yeah. Do you think Alfred's parents are going to be happy?
I don't know, man. Alfred's mom is bloodthirsty. Her just like, I'm gonna put the cat on. Dang. I don't know what would say. That would be an intimidating mother-in-law.
Yes. And what do you think is up with Esme's father? Like, when are we going to meet him?
I don't know. Do you have an episode count guess? Like, is that a next week thing? Is it a...
I'm going to say 4 or 5. Maybe. Yeah. I think it's going to linger a little bit longer. All right. Sarah, was there any news for Pennyworth?
Actually, yes. This is a little bit of a heads up, but this week we are going to see episodes 3 and 4. I don't know why, but that seems to be how they've scheduled it. So we have 2 hours of Pennyworth this Sunday, and in it we are going to meet Martha, who will someday be Martha Wayne, but now is Martha Kane. Oh, she really rhymed that up, didn't she? Oh, Martha. And the actress who plays her, Emma Pates, actually did an interview with IGN talking about how freeing it is to play somebody whose main contribution to pop culture is dying. That people aren't like, that's not my Martha Wayne. Like, all Martha Wayne has to do is die, and that's how she's your Martha Wayne. So she's got a lot of room to play her, which is kind of cool. So yeah, we're gonna meet Martha.
Yeah. Well, she has to die, and she has to love pearls. That's the other thing.
Because they have to scatter dramatically like tears in the rain in that alley, as is foretold.
Yep. All right. And that was all the news for Pennyworth?
That was it.
All right. Moving on to Preacher. Season 4 premiere. Masada. A couple months from now, Tulip and Cassidy made out in a motel room while Jesse fell out of a plane and crashed into the Australian outback. In the present, Cassidy was being used by Masada lecturer Frankie Toscani as a visual aid for his advanced torture class. Tulip and Jesse attempted to break into Masada and rescue Cass. Last minute reveal, Dog sipped a can of Diet Dr. Pepper and promised Herr Starr that Jesse Custer would suffer. Season 4, Episode 2, Last Supper. Long ago, God became angry with a dinosaur that ate his own poop. In the present, Herr Starr took over as Allfather and contemplated a way to fix his missing ear. Cassidy contemplated ways to escape Masada. Featherstone hunted Tulip as she planned another crack at breaking into Masada. Jesse walked off searching for a penis-shaped rock he saw in a dream. Last minute reveal, Dog sipped a can of Diet Dr. Pepper and eyed a toy model of the plane Jesse was flying in at that moment.
I feel like any commentary I have on this episode will not match just a description of the episode. Like, nothing I have to say is going to add to what you just said.
So yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
So Preacher's back. It's still really weird, you guys.
Yes, it is incredibly strange. Let's start right at the beginning with that flash forward of Tulip in that hotel room, and we think she's talking with Jesse, and all of a sudden it's Cassidy, and he has bleached tips now.
Yes. It's actually not a bad look for him, but continue.
Yes. And then we shoot to Jesse falling out of a plane and crashing. And
I mean, let's just say it, dying. Like, that's he didn't look like he was going to walk that off. So
yeah, no, blood gushing out of his head. Yeah. Not a good look for my guy Jesse. So what happened? How did we get this role reversal?
I mean, I've read the comics, so I can't say.
Oh.
Sorry. But again, just as we say every time we talk about this show, it is different enough from the comics that I can't say. Like, who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
There is not claymation poop-eating dinosaurs in any of the source material, so who knows?
Yes. Yeah. And
It made me happy that we got to the end of the world early on. That always makes my heart sing when we get one of those. I also really want to know how they do that thing with Jesse's hair. How does the hair department, what do they use? It's so very tall.
Yes.
They should do tutorials. Okay, you say things now.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's also the way it stays that way. You know,
I know. It's really a feat of engineering.
Yeah. They so we got to see the inside of Masada, which functions as both a prison and a technical institute. Would you have rather seen that French comparative literature class?
Always.
Yes. And Frankie Toscani.
Did you feel like, I mean, is it fair to say that is like your neighbors? Did you feel like your neighbors have been represented on this show now? Your friends and neighbors?
Well, I mean, no, not really. Yeah. I mean, maybe he's the kind of guy, who grew up in Brooklyn and would maybe move to Staten Island when he got a bit of cash. But also, I love the idea there that, like, you used to be able to make a career of this and not have to leave the 5 boroughs. And yeah, and the way he chose to torture Cassidy, yeah. I was, were you ready to throw up when you saw that bucket of foreskins?
I think it probably was less a visceral reaction for me than probably for a lot of the male viewing audience, but that was a lot of foreskins. Also something I didn't expect to say at any point when discussing any shows. There's a lot of foreskins. A lot of foreskins.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't belong on the human head in the shape of an ear. I mean, that is for sure. I feel like you and I could have fashioned a better ear, like with no training.
Yeah, the fact that they just sewed it right on. They didn't try to mold it.
Yeah, I would have wanted a better like aesthetic approach to that, but I don't know. Hairstars, he's fighting his own battles, so.
Yeah, well, he's the All-Father now, so he should at least be able to hire a plastic surgeon.
This is what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah. Get scrounge up a guy with enough cash to do that properly.
I actually thought this was an excellent Cassidy episode. The internalized guilt and those self-destructive tendencies that are in, full effect, and he made things so much worse for himself and his friends because he can't let go of his self-hatred. It was a good Cass episode. And I don't always say that.
Yeah, but like, I don't know if he's really got this.
No, he does not in any way have this. Absolutely not. No.
Yeah. So we're bouncing around a lot, but basically by the second episode, that first attempt should have worked. Aside from the fact that he was walking out into the blazing sun, he probably would have gotten about 20 feet before he got shot down. But the ingenuity that it took to, what was it, Urban Blight? That was the room that he ended up in. With just all of those drugs, so much drugs. And I was so proud of him. And then he went around for the second time, and you see the white nose in the elevator, and you're just like,
just the stuff stuffed under his shirt. I also really, I got to give it to my gal Tulip for just, Jesse's gone. She's got to get Cass out. So she's going to do it herself. she's not super powered. She just can go in and do it herself with a bazooka. I love Tulip so much.
Yes. yeah, and just Featherstone's getting some rough breaks. I mean, she has better luck than Hoover did, but
she has a flying squirrel costume. Any argument you're about to make is invalid.
Yes, that was a great moment where Tulip thought she'd won, and then yeah, she just damn. Yeah.
And I did not enjoy physics in high school, but is that what happens when two bullets meet?
What, they would just
flatten each
like
other
that?
and then fall? I feel like no. But
well, I've seen. Yeah, I mean, if you remember the movie Wanted, I think that's pretty much what happened.
I don't think that's a good indicator of how physics works. But now I kind of want to rewatch Wanted. I enjoyed that fight very much.
No, you don't.
Wait, what? Are you telling me
no, you don't.
You don't like James McAvoy's magnum opus Wanted?
No, I'm insulted that they would make Morgan Freeman play a part that was written for Samuel L. Jackson. I think that was embarrassing.
It gives us Chris Pratt at what I like to think of as his most Chris Pratty. This is not what we're here to talk about, though. So
no, let's not get sidetracked. So yeah, and it's weird. Like, it felt like, okay, we were gonna get the band back together. Everyone was gonna get reunited, and in fact, at this point, now everyone's spread out again. Cassidy's in Masada. Tulip, well, she's going into Masada, but she was separated, working with Kamal, the owner of the Holy Barn Grail, to try to figure out how to get to Cassidy. And Jesse is way off doing his own thing. He's searching for God again, or he's just trying to find this one structure that appeared to him. And of course he finds out it's in Australia.
Yeah, he had a prophetic dream that warned him to do that. And as far as prophetic dreams go, it could have been a little bit more. It could have shown, I don't know, more go to Australia signs just to help Jesse out a little bit. But I like what a grudging prophet he is, like he doesn't want to, but he's gonna. And if he forgets his lighter, he's gonna turn around and get it. And it's just, I don't know. I don't love that they've split up the group again. I understand that for certain stories to happen, that has to happen, but I feel like they were split up last season as well. And this is the gossip in me, but is it because Dominic Cooper and Ruth Negga split off screen? Like, is that why we don't see as much Jesse and Tulip, because they're not together anymore? I don't know. But yeah, I hope that they get back together sooner rather than later, because we only have these last few episodes. So we'll see. I'm not going to spoil the comic books. I know what the storyline they opened with is in the comics, and I hated it. And oh my God, I hope they change it. And it looked like maybe they're going to. So I hope that's the case. And I hope I was oblique enough without spoiling anything for anybody. But those who've read it probably know what I was like, oh, I don't want to see that. But I also super love how Tulip changed when the owner of the Bar and Grail called in, like, her husband left her and she just needs some help. And I was like, oh, patriarchy, rah. But nah, she played him. He worked with her. Like, she took what a man might think and flipped it around and used it to her advantage. So again, Tulip is my girl. It's hard every time the show is on for me not to make her my winner of the week every time. So just warning you right now.
That's okay.
Yeah. Also, I appreciated that my state's license plate was well represented in her cool car. So that was
yes. Yes. Yeah. And what was the
the lady in the door, the lady crushed in the door. Ed, we have to talk about the lady crushed in the door.
Oh, Tammy.
She was a good foot soldier to the very end.
I mean, but she could have played ball, Oh, I mean, this is sometimes the downside to being mind controlled by the voice of God. Um, is, she reached like a Sheldon Cooper type impasse where it's like, no, I'm supposed to do this. I can't walk away. And she ended up giving everything away. And yeah, she ended up crushed behind a door. And her head was still working somehow.
I mean, the human body is a mystery.
Yes. Yeah. What else? We only got one 30-second scene with the State of Killers and Arseface in the watching the ruins of Angelville. I was surprised that was all we got.
Honestly, I didn't even miss them. I hate to say it, but I'm so, my favorite story is the trio. So, and I'm glad we didn't get any Hilter. That was fine. But yeah, it was just a reminder that they're still here. Are you guessing the show's going to do what they did in last seasons where you get a tiny bit of Saint of Killers, tiny bit of Saint of Killers, and then we're going to get like a whole episode of Saint of Killers?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Although I wouldn't be surprised, because they're showing up next week. So next episode, it looks like it's going to be a lot of Saint of Killers and Arseface walking around. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And in the second episode, the person who picks up Jesse hitchhiking.
Yes.
I realize now because I've read the comics that that's an important person named Jesus Desaad. Were you a little disappointed that we didn't get to see a lot of the inside of his house of entertainment?
If I know this, do you think we're done in that house?
No. I think they're gonna flash
If
back.
I know this show, we're gonna spend a lot of time in that house because, like you say, he is somebody in the comics, and it is too sexual and weird for this show not to include it. So I have no doubt that we'll get more time than we probably need in the last season in that house with a storyline that should move along pretty quickly.
Yeah. I wonder what happens to that poor pilot who's going.
There is a pilot's code, and he is going to follow it. Poor pilot.
Preachers have a code, don't they?
Well, pilots do.
All right. Wow. So we were all over the place with that recap, but that's okay. I think we covered just about everything.
I will say there is a spoiler in the credits for something that hasn't happened yet. Did you watch the credits carefully enough to notice that?
I mean, I saw a bunch of stuff that I hadn't seen before, or wasn't exactly sure.
I don't want to dwell because again, if you missed it, but I guess if you haven't watched the credits yet and you don't know what happens, there's a change to a character that is in the credits that I was like, oh, they're just showing that. Okay, sure. So,
all right. Any news for Preacher?
No. No.
Okay. All right. So then, next up, our final episode for this week is Krypton, Season 2, penultimate episode, Blood Moon. Seg and Nyssa snagged a skimmer and raced to warn Val-El and the rebels that General Zod was about to unleash Doomsday on Wegthor. Jaina and Dev stayed back to care for Lyta, who was bedridden from her encounter with the Black Mercy. Last minute reveal, Val and Nyssa watched from the Sagittari spaceship as Wegthor exploded, not knowing if Seg made it out alive.
Okay, I enjoyed this episode, and not just because they blew up Wegthor. And I will never have to hear that word again.
Okay.
This was a good episode. This was good.
Yeah. I mean, there was action, there was intrigue. You had a lot of stuff. You had a lot of stuff going on. We got Doomsday, and I love the way that they played Doomsday like a horror villain in this. Like he was just this monster in the night that there was no escape from.
Yeah, and his CGI was pretty good. And I love me a suicide, like somebody has to do this for the group. I'll do it. No, I'll do it. Like that lands very firmly in my sweet spot. So that was So here's what I will say about the Chem thing. Incredibly well done, incredibly true to character. I was really sad. I didn't know I felt that way about Chem until it was too late. But for all my frustrations with Lyta, us thinking she was actually gone for an episode and then her coming back, then psych, it's actually Chem you lose. That is well done. I think if they had done Lyta's death, we think she's dead, but by the end of that episode, we know she's not, right?
Yeah.
That might have then made this even more powerful. I think they let Lyta stay dead for one episode too long for this to be as much of a she's back, but we lost him gut punch.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only qualm about any of that, because she's back and it's awesome. But the Chem thing was great.
Yeah, I thought. I thought that was well done. I thought that was heartfelt. You had the whole thing. That I mean, it is a trope, but that doesn't mean it wasn't well executed. Where he just
tropes are beloved for a reason.
yes. Where he just puts up the force field and Seg can't get through. It's like, oh man, you got to run, dude. You got to run. He's not turning it back on, and and even just that moment where Doomsday has him and he's like grabbing him, hanging, and there's blood everywhere, and then he just lets go, and then man.
But he also flips him off. I mean, like, it's very true to character.
Yes. And Adam Strange, just shut up, all right? I'm done with it. I am done. I don't want to hear another word out of you, asshole. And and that was the one thing that's really frustrating me about Adam Strange's character is like, he knows Doomsday, he knows what he's capable of, so maybe he can give a tactical advantage, and all he's saying is, no, just run, there's nothing you can do. The only person who's ever stopped him is gone now. And it's like, wow, yeah, real way to stay positive there, buddy. Although I will say, the rebels who charged at Doomsday after all of their guns didn't work were the stupidest people I've ever seen. This is the point where you bring in Lieutenant Tuvok from Star Trek Voyager to explain the importance of a good retreat. It is a tactical option that should be used when necessary.
I went to a different property, and that is Starship Troopers. Fleet does the flying, infantry does the dying, or whatever that is. Like that. Of course, it's the Johnny Bravo company. It's like, use your bodies, throw your bodies at him.
Yes. So the rebels were good, but they got out. And Nyssa, incredible badass here when she took on those Sagittari. And like I think she's really like leveled up this season. And I thought that battle and her like just viciously getting through those Sagittari, I thought that was a highlight for her this season.
Yeah, that's why I love the episode. She's a boss. Oh my god, that was amazing. Who knew she was so good at hand-to-hand combat? She was vicious, lethal, and effective. Also, poor Nyssa though, she's in love with Seg, and she's like, no, I see somebody else. I get it. I love you, and I get that because I love Seg, and I don't like the show, but I'm like, yeah, no, Seg seems great. So poor Nyssa. Somebody better for Nyssa. Hashtag give Nyssa somebody who loves her. 2020.
Yeah.
Also, and this is strange, but I thought the soundtrack was outstanding this week. I don't usually notice the music on this show, but they had effective scoring for a lot of those big moments that we're talking about. Yeah, this episode just really, really worked for me.
Yeah. One thing, Lyta, I do understand. I thought the storyline with Lyta kind of like shacked up. And what's weird is like both of our main characters in this show love each other, and yet each of them has another person who's like, yeah, you know, I'm the one who actually really cares about you and like planned my whole life.
There's a lot of I built my hope chest and it has our initials on it, and I mean our children were already named in the system, so like if you wouldn't mind. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah. So like her, you know, Dev M, like, oh man, he's and so yeah, you had that little family get together, Lyda and Jaina, and I thought that was important, but I'm ready to see her jump back into the fray next episode, which, you know, it's the finale, so I guess that's gonna happen.
You know, I don't have any actual news for Krypton, although I have seen some articles kind of cautioning about its low ratings. You haven't heard anything about a renewal, have you?
No, I have not. And Sci-Fi
is slow about that.
Well, but they are quick to cancel. Because if you remember recently, Deadly Class and Happy both bit the dust. Like, you know, moments after their season finales aired.
Okay.
So
I feel like the renewal on this one was announced later. I could be misremembering last year.
It was.
Okay. So I guess if they don't announce anything, that might be good. You're right. That's interesting. I feel like I'm now licking my finger and sticking it up into the air to see which way the wind is blowing with Sci-Fi to make guesses that don't mean anything. But you know.
yeah. And I also think it would be very strange to announce the spin-off of a show, to have that Lobo spinoff hanging in the air, and then just 10 weeks later, just be canceling the show you're spinning off from. That's a weird move.
True. Very true. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
So here's my question. What do you want to see happen in the finale? Especially if this is the finale. We don't know that either way, but what do you need to see?
I want to see General Zod defeated.
Uh-huh.
And I want to see Krypton saved, but I want something to happen at the end where we realize that Seg is going to have to go off Krypton, and that somehow this is going to go galactic, you know, and if that means that we're going to get Thanagarians, or if we're going to get Green Lanterns, you know, I want some of the DC Comics aliens to show up. You know, or maybe Seg gets pulled to Rann and has to help Adam Strange save Rann. Something like that. To set up season 3. But I mean, really, basically, I want, you know, the whole thing. You know, we hope they defeat General Zod.
Yeah, that feels like the thing that has to happen this season. We were promised Thanagarians and Lanterns in the run-up coverage to season 1, were we not?
Yeah, they were mentioning that. They were mentioning that was going to be the expanded, you know, part of the show. But it seems like they've gotten sidetracked with season 2. Although that's fine. I think it's going on.
Sidetracked by like Doomsday. That's not so bad.
Yeah, we're doing into the Superman stuff. But like, if you had something where, like, you know, something goes wrong with the Zeta Beam, and Seg ends up getting pulled in with Adam, and he can't get back to Krypton, so he has to help. He has to help Adam solve the Rann-Thanagar War.
I
think that could be an interesting season 3.
All right. I don't know anything about the Thanagar War.
Rann is the planet that Adam Strange defends, and they're a planet full of scientists. And Thanagar is the planet Hawkman is from.
Okay, Bowerfett, you calm down right now. You calm down.
And they're and they're a bunch of warriors. So, you know, there's like a, you know, and they're planets that are always at odds with each other, and it's Rannian technology over Thanagarian warriors, you know, and it's kind of that clash that happens. So,
okay.
Yeah. But putting the cart before the horse, we have a finale next week to look forward to. I was
going to say, that is wild speculation.
yeah, and we don't even know if that skimmer that Seg was in was able to make it off of Wegthor alive.
Yeah, so... I'm pretty sure Seg is dead. That feels right for this show.
and Superman. Like, are we gonna is Seg gonna meet his grandson? Are we gonna meet Superman? Like, what's the deal here? Is he gonna come into the future? I don't know. So many choices, so many things to worry about.
That's all I have for Krypton.
Okay. All right. So then, and there was no news for Krypton, right?
Correct.
All right. So then we're on to news for other shows.
All right. Well, as I suspect will be the case between now and January 14th, we've got crossover news for the CW Arrowverse. So we now know when everything is going to air. So are you ready? Supergirl's hour will be December 8th. Batwoman's will be December 9th. And the Flash's will be December 10th. Then, bafflingly, we take a month off. And when we come back on January 14th, Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow will have the final 2 hours of the crossover on that day. It's strange. I hate it. I guess the CW has their reasons, but like, all right.
It's okay. It's okay. Oh man, this is gonna be so cool. I'm excited. Crisis on Infinite Earths. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Let me get you even more excited. Mark Guggenheim, who oversees the Arrowverse stuff, co-wrote the crossover story with Marv Wolfman.
Ooh. Wow, the writer of the Maxi series, Crisis on Infinite Earths. Yeah. So wow, okay.
So I got the sense that they wrote the overall storyline, and then the individual writer rooms for the different shows will actually write the scripts. But Marv and Mark are the ones who are crafting that. So that's cool. Let's see. We have confirmation that Black Lightning will officially be in the crossover. So that is happening for sure. And Stephen Amell has said he would really like Tom Welling to be in the crossover. I would like that too. And I would like him to bring Michael Rosenbaum. So if the powers that be could make that happen. And then most importantly, Ed, are you sitting down? I know you are because we talked earlier. But we're going to see Batman. And Batman is going to be played by Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy.
Not often when I say to my husband, oh, hey, did you know some bit of news about the DC verse? Does he say, no. But with that news, he did.
That is awesome.
So, Ed, how do people know Kevin Conroy?
Kevin Conroy was the voice of Batman in Batman the Animated Series and the Batman Arkham video games and pretty much every cool, awesome animated version of Batman. He's the voice of Batman that you hear in your head. And Batman Beyond and New Batman Adventures and so much. Kevin Conroy, and the fact that now he's finally going to be playing Bruce Wayne live action. Wow, this is exciting. This is interesting. I can't wait. Now I'm like really jazzed and excited. I can't wait.
We read that crazy theory about how we could do Batman 66 and this and with the crossover. They're not doing that, but they're kind of doing that. It's really impressive. Also, I just really, really need them to have Kevin Conroy's first appearance to be him in the shadows so we just hear his voice. I want some kind of nod to him being the voice actor before we see him. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. And also, Bauer Fett wants us to spend an extra 10 minutes just talking about Kevin Conroy, and I don't think we could do that. But
I mean, I feel like we've given a couple. Bauer Fett, seriously, my husband's no when I told him should count for 5 minutes. He was a child on Christmas morning with that news. So.
Yeah. This is incredible. This is great. Oh man, I'm way more excited for this than I was for Burt Ward. But yeah, bring it on. Oh, we gotta wait December. 4 months.
You can do it. We can do it. We got a lot of stuff between now and then.
Yeah. All right. What's up?
One little bit of news for the Arrowverse in general. There is talk of them having another show join the lineup on the CW. The question was asked, I think it was at TCA, would it be the next gen show with Mia and William and things like that? And the answer was actually they're looking at another property, not a next gen spinoff. And of course they didn't say what. A lot of the speculation though is a possible John Diggle Green Lantern. I mean, they've hinted toward that.
That would be so
Expensive.
difficult to do. Yeah, it would be so expensive to do on a CW budget. I mean, but Star Trek lasted on TV for 30 years, so I don't see why not. But there are other different challenges with that because you don't have spaceships; you just have people flying in space.
Is that cheaper or more expensive if it's just people flying in space?
I feel like it would be more expensive.
Yeah, good point. So, I mean, obviously that is just speculation in the comment sections, but we'll see. We'll see what becomes of that. Okay, so moving on to the newest show in the CW lineup, Batwoman.
Batwoman music.
Supergirl will be a guest star in Batwoman season 1, kind of leading up to the crossover stuff. So we'll see those two characters interact, which is cool.
Ooh.
The showrunners also say Kate Kane will date. She'll be kind of like the Oliver Queen billionaire playboy that he was in season 1, and we'll see her romantic life and all of that, all of what that means. She has an existing relationship with a woman, and then she'll also date around. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then comicbook.com has a variety of pilot photos from the pilot. So if you cannot wait to see how that's going to shape up, it looks stylish. Great. Yeah, they're doing a show. Batwoman. Any thoughts on that, Ed?
Yeah, I think all of that sounds really cool and exciting. Yeah. Now I'm just ready for this show. We gotta wait 2 more months for this. Come on.
Yeah, October is going to be here before we know it, I'm sure, but it seems a really long way away right now. Okay, moving on to Arrow. Okay. We just talked about when the Arrow crossover episode is going to air, that January 14th. That will be episode 8 of the show's 10-episode final season. So episodes 1 through 7 will be Arrow, and of course leading up to the crossover. Episode 8 will be the Crisis episode, and then episodes 9 and 10 will be the finale for the show. They will not be involved with fallout from the crossover. It'll be series finale stuff. So episode 9, they know what they're going to do. They know everything they want to accomplish. And then 10 will be the proper send off for the show, apparently. So that's how that's going to work. Yay.
Wow. And I think it's also interesting to note that they're going to do, I mean, it's a half season, but they are going to have a hiatus.
Yeah. It's funny. Also, I don't know if this is intentional or not, but Arrow has 7 seasons prior to this, and they're going to do 7 episodes and then the crossover. And they've talked about it being a love letter to past seasons. I don't know if they're going to, make them line up to season 1 we did this, season 2 we did this. I doubt it. That's just me looking at the numbers. But they've also said we're going to revisit some greatest hits. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Colton Haynes will not be coming back as a regular for season 8. He made it clear he was not asked back as a regular, but it sounded like everybody is very willing to have, excited to work him in if he'd be willing to come back for a guest spot. So we're not going to get as much Roy, but that's fine because Roy needs to be with Thea off doing Lazarus Pit things.
Yes. Right. I agree. I concur.
Concur. Let's see, but it looks like Echo Kellum will be coming back. The actor who plays Curtis tweeted Instagram something, a photo of himself in front of like an Arrow production door. So it looks like we'll get some Mr. Terrific possibly back, or just Curtis. I guess he might not suit up. We'll see. Okay. Episode 2, we're gonna see the return of Katana. Ryla Fukushima will be back for that episode.
Yes, I love that character. I love her look and her powers, and yeah. I applaud this. Yes.
Yeah. And lastly, Stephen Amell and David Ramsey both talked a lot at the various cons and TCA and things about how they're dealing with Felicity's absence. And Stephen Amell made it clear that it's on Oliver's mind all the time. He misses Felicity and Mia every day. He actually asked the writers to put a scene in where he has to take off his wedding ring for some reason, and he puts it back on, and he wanted that to be a beat in the show to honor that relationship and that memory, even though she's gone. So yeah, it sounds like those actors miss their scene partner and miss the character on the show, which is nice because, my little Felicity heart is sad this coming season. Okay, that's it for Arrow. Ready to move on to Black Lightning?
Sure.
That is a quick little update on its premiere date. Initially, it had a premiere date later in October, but they've moved it up 2 weeks, so we will be getting Black Lightning on October 7th, which I believe lines up with when all the other Arrowverse shows are coming back. I don't know why they didn't do that in the first place. It's weird. So, yeah, we'll get Black Lightning when all the rest of them start coming back.
Okay.
Yeah, so I feel like that was fixing an easily fixable problem. So, okay, stay with me. 3 more shows. Titans. There's a new trailer for season 2, and our buddy Deke273 hates it.
Yes. At Deke273 puts out, wow, just saw the Titans trailer for season 2. This show should be taught in college as an example of a bad trailer. And yes, that is my professional opinion.
I kind of want to have a segment where he comes on and just explains to us frame by frame how it could be improved.
Yes. For those of you who don't know, Dan Evans, who's on the Deconstructing Dad podcast, his day job is as a professional editor. So he would know. I was, more focused on all of the information that came through in that trailer. It was kind of clunky that it was all of this recap of stuff we've already seen, and then when they finally got into the season 2 stuff, it happened very fast. What I remember, we got to see Bruce Wayne. Jason Todd is still a huge jerk, and we got to see Aqualad in costume very briefly. He didn't say any lines. We had no context for who he was. But yeah, and Crypto. We got to see Crypto.
Yeah, I can't totally hate anything that has Crypto barking in it. So, but I more watched it with I recognize some of these characters, but not others. I am not as attuned to costumes to be like, oh, that's Deathstroke. Okay, I know Deathstroke's costume, but so it was fine. It looks like it's going to be more of a team thing, and it looked like it. Am I crazy that it looked like it's a little brighter? It's a little bit less like nighttime neon washed streets, and it looked a little more natural light-ish.
Yes. Although one bright color that is noticeably absent is the orange on Deathstroke's suit. Like, what the heck?
I just said that's the suit I recognize. So, come on, show. Don't let me down.
Mm-hmm. But all right.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see and hear more about that. And I don't know, Deke, if you want to send us a point by point like manifesto, I encourage it. So
yeah, you can email that to dctv@wickedtheory.com.
And all your mythical free time, Dan. Okay, so moving on to
Stargirl music. We
have an interview with Jason Jabbar, who is in Stargirl. He talked about what it's like to work with the actors and when filming is going to be wrapping up and what the show's going to be like. So we got some interesting little tidbits. Filming should be done on Stargirl in September, maybe October at the latest. It's going to be more PG-13 than R rated. He said that there's cursing, but there's not like F-bombs and things like that. So there's violence, but I don't think it's going to be Titans or Doom Patrol. It definitely is going to be a little more kid-friendly, which, Ed, that sounds appropriate for the material, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. This should be a good teen show.
Yeah.
A teen high school drama.
Yeah, cool. Let's see what else. He said that there's a lot of characters and a lot of intertwined stories. So it sounded like it was a busy set with a lot of people coming and going. And Jeff Johns is heavily involved. He's very, day-to-day, hands-on, interactive, helpful, supportive. He had nothing but good things to say about Jeff Johns. So I assume that's nice to hear when, your creators are decent people.
Yeah, and I think I definitely expect that because this is Jeff Johns. This is a character that he created and based on his sister. So yeah, this is that makes total sense that he would be much that he would be, this would definitely be the show that I would say he would probably want to take the most interest in than any DC project.
Yeah, makes sense. So Jason Jabbar is playing a character in IMDb. He's named Brian. This is one that was cast that we don't have much information about. They made a point in this article of saying he's not playing Static Shock. So do what you will with that. But he also was in a couple of episodes of Black Lightning as Tavon. So I guess he's a DC guy. I mean, officially, that's
yeah.
So that is that on Stargirl. And finally this week, we have news about
Why music.
X. And that is the show, of course, based on Why the Last Man. Charlie Jane Anders has joined the writing staff. This is super cool for me. Charlie Jane Anders is one of the sort of leading voices and shaping influences of IO9, the website that was part of the Gawker empire that still does, sci-fi fantasy genre type coverage. I love that website when she and Annalee were in charge of it. And so to see her go on, she's written some fiction, some sci-fi genre fiction, and now she's going to be in the Y Writers Room. This is somebody who understands the genre and fans and how fans respond and what they love and what they're passionate about. And she has a great respect, I suspect, for the source material, but also the great things that can happen when shows are made of source material. So I don't know Charlie Jane, but when I saw her name, I was just like, oh my God, that's so cool. Yay. So she's obviously not with IO9 anymore, but I wish her good things. And I think it's good things for the show.
Cool.
This is officially me getting about as fangirly as I've ever gotten. So
that's fine. That's fine. That's cool. All right. Why the Last Man is happening. It's still a thing. It's still a thing. After all we've been through, the show is still moving forward. So that's the most exciting thing of all. All right. So that is the news for this week, and that means now it's time for our winners of the week. Sarah, do you want to go first?
Sure thing. My winner of the week are ladies who know how to fight.
Oh, okay.
So you've got Nyssa, who is so tough in that fight for her life, where she just plows down super trained elite troops. That's on Krypton. On Preacher, you've got Tulip, who we know knows how to fight, and Featherstone, who also does. And we see those two women square off, and it's amazing, and it's tough, and it's interesting, and it's funny. And then I'm also going to throw in Bet Sykes from from Pennyworth, because she knows how to fight in a different way. She uses her sex and her wiles, and she sends an innocuous seeming letter to her sister, and she gets her way out of, terrible death row in this alt England. So yeah, women who know how to use what they need to do to get what they want. Sometimes it's fists, sometimes it's brain, sometimes it's, boom. So There you go. Women who fight.
There we go. Bet Sykes. Oh man, she's scary. My winner for the week comes from Preacher, and it's the pilot's code. First off, that pilot that he finds in the airport who tells Jesse, you can't smoke in here, and then Jesse just uses the word, and it's like, all right, let's light up. That whole thing where he drives him, and Jesse picks up his lighter out of the truck and walks back, and they see that Jesus Desaad has that little kid in the house, and that pilot's going, come on, you got to do something. You got to go in there and help that kid. Don't preachers have a code? Well, pilots have a code. And just walks right in. I'm like, that's my man. That's who I want to be when I grow up. So yeah, following the pilot's code. Good man. I hope he's still alive next episode.
He's not.
All right. Oh, Sarah, we finished. We're done.
We did. It was a roller coaster, but we did.
We're done. Except maybe we, when we record our movie special on the kitchen. But yeah. 4 episodes. We've got more coming next week. Man. All right. That's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
And I'm Sarah Netzley, SaraNetzley.
Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!